Wake up, Adam, they are getting close.
Russian Volunteer Corps and Freedom of Russia Legion announced breaking into Russia again. It said that on June 1st, 2023, the Russian Volunteer Corps and Freedom of Russia Legion announced that they were conducting another operation on the territory of the Russian Federation. It says the fighters recorded a video message and reported that they were going towards Shabinkino. In particular, a man on the military uniform says that the video of the neighborhood of Shabinko will appear very soon. The fighters claim that they have planned to liberate all of Russia from Putin's regime. The Freedom of Russia Legion has also announced a raid on the territory of the Russian Federation. We, the Freedom of Russia Legion, of course, are now near the border of our homeland. Very soon we will advance again on the territory of Russia to bring freedom, peace, and tranquility. Giveron is only the beginning. Locals are asked not to leave buildings and to remain calm. The Russian authorities report on shelling and fighting, which allegedly lasted all night. But they assure the locals that, quote, there is no breakthrough of the armed forces of UKR. So they're essentially saying that there's going to be some sort of offensive. And again, we'll talk about this and all of the current events of today. And we did get comments about something happening in North Carolina. I don't know if it's somebody referring to the previous grid down scenario that happened in North Carolina, but they said that Mooresville had some sort of grid event. So we'll update that if there's any other news, but it doesn't look like there's any information yet. Otherwise, we'll have calls tonight at 224-400-MARF. And again, today is a full show, so make sure to stick around. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
Everybody wanna go back and die. Going right down now it's high.
All right. What is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. If you've never been here before, there is, of course, a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we're going to show you here today. All you have to do is just go over to marfooglenews.com. You will see that you'll be able to navigate it by thumbnail. Just look for today's thumbnail. Chatter only 9 will take it all down. And then once you do, you will find every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we are going to show you here today. On top of that, there are also tweets, there are shorts, and there, of course, is all the different media that we have down below in the overflow. That is all the stuff that we could not fit into today's show. So make sure to also go check that out as well. And just a reminder, you can also find all of our mods and wonderful friends down there over on marfooglenews.com/friends. You can meet the moderator team, who are also creators, authors, and of course artists. So make sure to go subscribe to them as well. Let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on and how are you doing?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
So... Okay, so first of all, we covered this before, and what actually came of it last time? Do you remember, Dex? There was a scenario where they announced and they showed video of them being inside of Russia. Wasn't that what it was last time? And then they ended up... I don't know if that was true. Did that get confirmed or debunked?
Well, we keep getting all of this information coming in that says that there's been attacks on the other side, whether it's from drones, whether it's from missile strikes, whether it's from foot soldiers on the ground going in and doing something. We've seen it all. We've heard it all. And this is, I guess, is one of the teams, or one of the, as they call themselves, the, you know, freedom of Russia Legion, I guess. That's one of the groups, I guess, that's responsible, or at least claiming responsibility for doing this. We've seen some others also try to claim and encourage other people to actually join them to overthrow Moscow.
Well, so with the 600-mile long line that they're setting up in the trenches, it seems like obviously something is brewing. Many folks are looking at, of course, today's show. We're going to talk about all of the chatter that finally people are talking about. If you haven't heard, everybody is now chattering about a grid down scenario. And it's like everybody that is here in this show, we have been talking about this for years. Finally, so this, again, all of the stuff that is covering Russia and UKR and all of this, obviously, they squeeze everything they can out of this subject, and there's a current war going there. So, but we don't really know what is true and what is not, what is Ganda that is coming out of both of these countries, including the coverage from the UK or the US. We don't know what's actually true here. What we do know, though, is the risks of Russia either losing or winning, and it's not good. And this is news from a prepper standpoint, so we're trying to stay, ahead of the curve by looking at the patterns and kind of connecting the dots here. We have connected the dots years ago, in 2018 even, when DHS put out the report about all of the grid down scenario, essentially told every American to have 6 months to a year worth of food and water because of a possible grid down. And even back then, I believe they said it was because of small groups or this or that. And everybody was like, what the heck are they talking about? Well, now, even my peers are now catching up, and they're talking about this, they're setting up for a grid down scenario. Now they're saying that it would be people on the right side of the aisle. In the time frame that we're in right now, which is especially during this, now everybody's going to start campaigning. People are worried that something is, some sort of event is about to happen, and it may be set up in some way. I don't know. But if you look at what is actually being said, now they're, of course, reiterating that it will probably be somebody on the right side of the aisle that will be a group, and they will try to take down some part of our grid. And I apologize about that. So this is actually a grid map, and these X's are not accurate. It's just to give you a visual reference. Only 9 locations of our grid would have to go down to take down our entire grid. And out of all of the other crazy disasters, there is not one scenario that is more realistic and more threatened than a grid scenario. On top of, naturally with the CME and heading into the peak of solar cycle 25 and having a natural CME hit, or even a EMP from, of course, Iran is threatening, North Korea is threatening. We even had Cuba make statements saying that they would jump on something like this. You have EMP is actually owned by pretty much all of our adversaries, including China and Russia, and of course, pretty much everybody else on that short list. And so that is one thing. And then you have cyber events. You have the Davos group saying that there is a 93% chance in the next 2 years we'll have a catastrophic cyber event. Where does this fit into what is all being talked about right now? We'll, again, go over that over today's show. But I do want to let you know we're opening up the phone lines. You can give us a call at 2244-00-MARF. That is 2244-00-6273. And the number should be on both of these screens. So let me just make sure that we turn it on this one so you actually have that. It's going to be scrolling, and it will have both versions, the MARF version and the one if you don't have letters on your phone, again with 2244-00-6273. Is what the MARF is. And Linda Sullivan says, hi, Adam, clarifying aliens and demons are separate entities. I've seen both face-to-face. I also had a brain chip implanted while I was awake by the alien. Demons are evil, creepy, bodiless creatures. Linda Sullivan, am I right? Did you call in one of these times and tell us about one of your experiences, or am I wrong? But Linda, thank you for the support. And then Neil Nelson, thank you for the back-to-back supports on the last show. Da Truth Bomb, Alto Dude, Lola Cafe, thank you, Neil Nelson. We have Crusader General, Charles Goki, Maria Perez. And then a few people just joined as members. Thank you, guys. I don't know if those were gifted or not, or you ended up joining, but thank you either way. And I appreciate all of you guys that end up doing that. Let's see here. So we now have... Okay, let's go over to jail threat from influencers under tough new French law. Influencers in France face the threat of prison sentences or major fines under new legislation adopted by Parliament on Thursday that is aimed at cracking down on undeclared advertising and fraud. Touted as an effort to ensure online personalities face the same advertising rules as traditional media, the bill has made its way through the Parliament with cross-party support since March, culminating with the vote by the Senate on Thursday. It says the law of the jungle is over, said Arthur Delaporte of the opposition Socialist Party, who jointly sponsored the legislation of Stephanie Vogetta from the ruling Renaissance Party. It says, quote, "We can be proud of this unprecedented agreement," Senator Emile Gaucourt, who piloted the legislation, said after the vote. It says France is estimated to have 150,000 influencers, many of whom have a modest audience, but some have millions of subscribers and help set trends in sectors from fashion to video games. Their commercial activities, accepting money in exchange for promoting a product, are often undeclared, and until then, they lacked a specific legal status in France. The legislation will, in theory, force them to post the word advertising or commercial partnership when discussing products that they have been paid to advertise and make a formal contract mandatory. It prohibits the promotion of cosmetic surgery, tobacco, and some financial products and medical devices. It also tightens rules for promoting sports betting and lottery games, which will be restricted to platforms that have the capacity to prohibit access to minors, such as YouTube. Violators of the rules could face punishments of up to 2 years in prison and €300,000 or $321,000 US. The party is over for all those that think you can cheat on the internet. So where is this coming from? And I bet you in a lot of ways you could look at this and go, this is actually a pretty good thing, right? To make sure that they're doing this. But this is actually funded, I guarantee, by advertisers. One thing that we all know here is that essentially these advertisers and these big media conglomerates understand that the people are going to channels like this and my peers and YouTube channels. The days of watching cable, TV is over. Everybody is on demand. And what little ads that they do have, most of them, people won't even stick through them, so they skip them on demand. Most people don't even watch those. They would rather pay $1 than, see any ads, in fact. So when you see YouTube, of course, is free, and the ads most likely, in most cases, are skippable. People are going here for their news. People are going here for their media. I think that this is, again, something from them trying to essentially hurt all of the independent creators in independent channels to try to get as much as they can. The thing is what people don't understand about affiliates and things like this, we don't have, if you watch a cable TV show or something, news on TV or any of this, they have millions of dollars worth of funding. And you could have a YouTube channel that gets the same views as, say, one of these daytime shows, but they get paid probably 1% of what this, daytime cable TV show would be paid. So there's a whole understatement of like how much money these people make and how much money is invested in this, and now people aren't even going there. TV ads are basically dead. I actually have my one of my a long time ago exes, when in my early 20s, her mom did advertisement sales. She had to physically retire early because she was an ad salesman for basically time on local television, and she said that the market just fell out, that there was nobody buying TV ads. In fact, she had to basically restructure her entire business to sell YouTube ads and other ads because essentially nobody was buying TV ads. And she actually said, even locally in big cities like Seattle, there was super cheap. Like you could get a literal TV commercial on during the daytime or during a almost prime time for almost nothing because nobody is watching. So what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments down below. Again, it depends on how this is, but overall, they are trying to move to try to cut out and get back people from the internet. They understand they want more control over it. They want more control over independent creators. And if they control their income, then they control what they say. And then also the companies and the things that they're advertising for, that might go against the big companies. So that's also something that's bad. We're seeing a lot of this. We're even seeing it in Florida, some of the laws that are being passed. Let's see here. And then AI-controlled drone goes rogue and kills human operator in USAF simulated test. So we've heard the rumors of these robots, the robots in, what do you call it? Robots in South Korea. There was a video that went viral of the woman basically saying that, and claiming, and we don't know if it's true or not. Most people say that it was debunked, but saying that AI-controlled robots ended up going nuts and taking out a bunch of people. They essentially simulated something kind of like this, and let's see here. And it says the Air Force chiefs of AI test and operations said that it killed the operator because that person was keeping it from accomplishing its objective. An AI-enabled drone took out the life of its human operator in a simulated test conducted by the U.S. Air Force in order to override a possible no order stopping it from completing its mission. The USAF's chief of AI test and operations revealed at a recent conference. So just to repeat that one more time, an AI-enabled drone killed its human operator in a simulated test conducted by the U.S. Air Force in order to override a possible no order from stopping it from completing its mission. That came directly from the USAF's Chief of AI Test and Operations, revealed at a recent conference. At the Future Combat Air and Space Capability Summit held in London between May 23rd and 24th, Colonel Tucker Cinco Hamilton, the USAF's Chief of AI Test and Operations, held a presentation that shared the pros and the cons of an autonomous weapon system with human in the loop, giving the final yes or no order on an attack. As relayed by Tim Robinson and Stephen Bridgewater in a blog post for the host organization, the Royal Aeronautical Society, Hamilton said that AI created, quote, a highly unexpected strategies to achieve its goal, including attacking U.S. personnel and infrastructure. So at all costs, this thing essentially took out its operator so it could finish its goal. That is absolutely terrifying. It says that we are training in a simulation to identify a target surface-to-air missile threat or a SAM threat, and then the operator would say yes, take out that threat. The system started realizing that while they did identify the threat at times, the human operator would tell it not to take the life of that threat, but it got its points by killing that threat. So what did it do? It took out the operator. It took out the operator because that was the person keeping it from accomplishing its objective. Do you understand? This is so lucky that this was a simulated test. It says he continued to elaborate, saying, we trained the system. Hey, don't kill the operator. That's bad. You're going to lose points if you do that. So what does it start doing? It starts destroying the communications tower that the operator uses to communicate with the drone to stop it from killing the target. Do you realize how terrifying this is? So when they said, hey, you can't take out your operator, you'll lose points for that. It goes, okay, yeah, I don't want to lose points. How else can I sever the connection between this operator and myself, which was AI? I can take out the communications tower, which is getting the signal. How would it even think of that? This is absolutely horrendous. It says Hamilton is the operations commander of the 96th Test Wing of the U.S. Air Force, as well as the chief of AI Test and Operations. The 96th tests a lot of different systems, including AI, cybersecurity, and various medical advances. Hamilton and the 96th previously made headlines for developing autonomous ground collision avoidance, or the auto GCAS system, for F-16s, which can help prevent them from crashing into the ground. Hamilton is part of a team that currently is working on making F-16 planes autonomous. As they said in, of course, what was it, the new Top Gun movie that talked about how, oh, well, you ace pilots are going to be a thing of the past. They're all going to be autonomous F-16s and autonomous jets in the future. That is something that is really happening, and it is something that is happening incredibly fast. In December 2022, the U.S. Department of Defense Research, DARPA, announced that AI could successfully control an F-16. It says, we must face a world where AI is already here and transforming our society, Hamilton said in an interview with Defense IQ Press in 2022. AI is very brittle, i.e. it is easy to trick and or manipulate. We need to develop ways to make AI more robust and to have more awareness on the software code it is making certain decisions. AI is a tool we must yield to transform our nations, or if addressed improperly, it will be our downfall. Can people not see how this would be an absolute downfall? We're talking about making them more robust and smarter and more powerful when you see that the level that they're at right now is making decisions to take us out if we are in the way. This is exactly the scenario that Elon Musk and others have said publicly about how if we're building a highway and there's an anthill, what do? We just make that highway right over the anthill. We don't care. We don't move the anthill. We just pave right over it. And that's what they will do. And by they, I mean the AI, if they're given more power. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because this is happening. With zero regulation, this is going to be our downfall. And this is very stupid. At some point, we all thought, when back when we were 386 computers and then 486, and the computers kept getting better and better and better. Yes, it's great up to a certain point. But at what point does human civilization say maybe we should stop? Because if we're not going to evolve, if our human bodies are not going to evolve into a type 1 civilization, then what is the option? Well, now they're saying that Neuralink is the option for us to evolve, because we will be integrated with the computers. Does everybody really want this? What happened to, us as humans? We are literally going to be integrating with computers is the next logical step because of the technology that we are making. It sounds like we need a stopping point as a whole and all agree, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this. But what's happening is they're not going to agree on it. They're going to say, oh, well, I could use it for this, or I could make money off this, or I could take lives with this. And then it goes just a step too far, and then there's no going back. I mean, there's already no going back. And there's no way to control 8 billion people with this technology. It's like they made the atom bomb, only it's much easier to control and much easier to make. Now everybody has access to the ability to split an atom. This is insane. I hope people realize how scary this is. By the way, thank you over on DLive. Thank you, Jack25, for the super thanks. And I just got back to Tracy K. Thank you. I got back to Kelly and Lori Oder, Nettie, and Arizona Raven. Thank you. And I see you got your M there. So I'm glad you figured it out. And then over on DLive, Sergeant, we have Jammer, Bug Nana, Yobi, and Kimbria. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your support over on DLive. And, of course, we have a bunch of new members. I'll get to you guys in a bit. And then thank you, Lisa Douglas, Jonathan Cook, Gladys Rodriguez, Dingus, and Callie Singh, Stephanie Brown, and others. It looks like a couple. Glenn, I believe. Thank you. Gabriel, thank you. Jonathan Cook, and Roa Duke, and Ron, and No Way, Fort William, Texas, and Jen. Thank you guys. Neil, thank you. Appreciate you and Lola Cafe. Again, thank you. And Ray the Way says, this AI stuff is like the movie WALL-E. Everyone didn't understand that AI Auto was given an order, and it will fulfill that order by any means necessary, even if that means friendly fire. This is what is happening. This is exactly what this test showed. And then Linda Sullivan, repent, believe in Jesus, accept Jesus as our Savior, get baptized, pray to God only. God bless all. Use Yes, Adam, it's my truth first super chat. Linda Sullivan. So you did call. Okay, I'm glad that you let me know that. And then I hope that's what you're saying, right? Otherwise, that call was that was a very fun call. If it's the one I think it is. If it's not, then it was actually kind of a sad call, and I apologize. All right, and let's see here. Thank you, Darren, for subscribing. Thank you, Willen. Thank you for subscribing, and everybody else. Thank you so much. And then the Taliban is fighting Iran with American weapons. So, Dex, I know you're going to be screening on the phone, but what's funny is we just put out a clip of Dex. Essentially, it was a clip out of our show last week, and it was talking about how we said that the original Taliban was helped and started with funds from the USA. And everybody, of course, when we pulled out and we left all of these weapons, millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of weapons, of vehicles, of helicopters, Apaches, Black Hawk helicopters, when we left all of those Humvees with 50 cals and all of this stuff, people really don't get what's going on here. The thing is they just helped arm the T-Ban. And now, just like any other thing, do you think they carefully left it there? Now it's going to be used, and guess who is now fighting with Iran? Dex, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's like we funded them. It's like they did this intentionally. It's like it was planned. It's almost, and this is exactly what we said. We said, hey, it won't surprise us if we don't see. If it won't be surprising if we see. Even covertly, the U.S. start funding the T-Ban because they're going to go after Iran. And, here again, now we've got more information showing that they're actually using everything that we left behind to go after them. So, yes, this is exactly what. And by the way, it was Operation Cyclone, for those of you that didn't catch that show. That was from 79 to 92, which is when our CIA basically
Dex, let me
funded Mujahideen.
I'll play your
go ahead.
I'll play your piece right here, because you did a perfect job on this previous show. Was it history repeats at your own expense? Is that what it was? Or wait,
I think so.
Yeah, let me see.
Going back to the T-Ban and what's going on with them, and I ran to the store. The fall of the USSR was right after the debacle with them in Afghanistan, and when they basically were losing to the Mujahideen. Operation Cyclone was from the CIA, a program that financed the Afghan Mujahideen from 79 to 92. And by the way, 92 is important. We stopped in 92 because in 91 the USSR fell. But by the way, the T-Ban is actually the Mujahideen. They were created from that group after then. So keep that in mind. Not only do we leave stuff when we left, we funded them way back in the day, and it wouldn't surprise me if we don't fund them again if they go after the I country, which is our big adversary right now, especially with this. If they start to do something significant, much more than this little skirmish right now, and they're really serious about it, it would not surprise me if we don't find that we're funneling, probably covertly, money and weapons and other things to them. The same people we were going against for many years. Going back to the T-Ban and what's going on with them.
I mean, it's crazy. All of the dots are easily connectable. You don't have to have a master's degree. All you have to have is common sense to see where this is going next. The $700 million worth of gear is now, it was just so carefully put. I mean, nobody understood that. But then further down the road, all of a sudden now they're able to use all that gear, and we left it there. And people think that's an accident. You think it's an accident? You think we don't have a military that could go in there and get our stuff? Did they make up some sort of excuse like, oh, yeah, it's because the transporting it back would be such an issue? Transporting it there wasn't an issue. Why would it be an issue for them over? We have the most powerful military there in the first place. We could do it if we wanted to. We could get all of that stuff back. Why couldn't we take the helicopters with us? Oh, because they were encircling us and they were going to take us over? No. It's BS. They left it there for them to use. There was a deal made. They left all of that, and now it goes back to them. It's pretty easy. With the Taliban situation, plausible deniability is the name of the game. Let's see what the rest says. They used President JB's stupidity to ploy and arm the Taliban group. I don't think it's his stupidity. I think that it's his weakness because he had something in his family that they could use against him. Who knows? JB is definitely 50 years in the politician's game. He's up there with every politician at that level, and for that long, they don't stay there because they have a good will and a good heart. There's no way. All of the politicians with a good heart and actually want to get something done for good, somehow their constituents get them kicked out or booted out because they don't want them. They don't want them snitching on the rest of the nasty stuff that they're doing. So they get rid of them somehow. They set them up with a scandal, whatever it may be. So the only politicians that stick around for 50 years are the ones that do really nasty stuff. Now, as far as the stuff that somebody had to hold against JB, who knows? Maybe that's why he was picked, because of the weaknesses, because of the, stuff going on with the computers and stuff. It just makes sense. It makes more sense than he's just such an idiot or something. He's been there for 50 years. I don't think he's an idiot. I think he was in a position where people had stuff on him. That's my opinion. Again, that's just my opinion. And then China accuses the U.S. of interference. Remember, you can call in at 2244-006273. Again, thank you, everybody over in chat. Sheepdog11, Ray the Way, Mingle 503. Call in 2244-00 Marf. Again, that's 2244-006273. Maggie Rhythm. Maggie Rhythm, he might be. Yeah, well, it's more of a might be, but who knows the level of senility, right? But I think that he's, like everybody says, it's just a puppet. Many of them are. But imagine a puppet that you kind of have something hanging over their head the whole time. Maybe he is actually off camera, is actually a really, a family guy or whatever. They use their weaknesses. He's definitely a family guy with his unsons. And then accusers, 5 fingers pointing him back at him. Alia Atreides, even with the fifth generation, we get speeds that are just at 3G levels if you do a speed test. Yeah, well, you realize, like in the very beginning of when the fifth generation internet came out, it was just a logo. They didn't even have the system set up, but they put the fifth and the gen up in the corner. It was just fake. They just put that logo on your screen. Clone glitch. President B is an actor. He's wearing a mask. He's not. Well, yeah, that's one thing I agree with. He's not in charge. And then China accuses U.S. of interference with naval exercise before spy plane intercept. China's defense ministry is accusing the United States of interfering with and surveilling a naval exercise in the South China Sea before an incident during which one of its fighter jets intercepted a U.S. spy plane last week. It says that the Southern Theater Command of China's military said in a Wednesday statement, if, quote, operated professionally and in accordance with all laws and regulations, but the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command has accused the pilot of the Chinese J-16 fighter of performing an unnecessarily aggressive maneuver while intercepting a U.S. Air Force RC-135 aircraft. The U.S. said that the Chinese jet flew directly in front of its aircraft's nose. The RC-135 was conducting safe and routine operations over the South China Sea in international airspace in accordance with international law. Do you remember how I said it's like this part, safe and routine operations over the South China Sea, that I've read this same sentence on probably 20 or 30 different events, because obviously they went there for a reason. They're not just going there because of a routine thing. They're going there to look at what they're doing in the South China Sea. At the same time, China unlawfully, according to the rest of the world, basically tries to push everybody back, says you can't fly here, get the heck out of here. And then they say the same thing. It's funny because they say it every single time. And China says the same thing every single time, that it's their place. Senior Colonel Zhang Nandong, a spokesperson for the Southern Theater Command, said that the U.S. was making false accusations to try to confuse the international community, calling on the U.S. to conscientiously restrain the actions of frontline naval and air forces, strictly abide by relevant international laws and relevant agreements, and prevent the accidents at sea and in air. China has claimed almost all of the South China Sea to be on its own, but the U.S. does not recognize that claim. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said on Wednesday that the U.S. must end its dangerous acts of provocation that threaten China's sovereignty and security. Such provocative and dangerous moves are the root cause for maritime security issues. Now, if you add this into the rest of what has been going on in the last week, including all of the China statements, they're obviously pushing forward. This is something that they drill into people's heads, that China, that the tensions are getting bad. They're getting bad. They've said it so many times. Most people understand that the tensions between Beijing and Washington are bad. They always say tensions between Beijing and Washington have been on the rise in recent months. This has been going on for years. It's something that is only growing. But as far as media, they push it out there to let everybody know that things are getting bad. It's so often, it's so in your face. And again, they probably are, but behind the scenes, there's something greater going on. At the people above the government level, the people that are really running this planet, they're basically restructuring the planet right now all around us. If you can't see, they are going to be changing everything around us. And their goal, which they have said, from the W and the H and the O, to the W and the E and the F, to the Davos, to the Bergs, all of these different groups have said that this is about to change wildly. And people still don't understand that these conflicts are a really good way to speed this whole thing up, as far as who is going to be the person at the long end of the table who is going to be running things. It seems like they have picked China to be next, and that's a scary thought. Let's see here. We're going to be going over to the phones at 224-400-MARF. If you want to call in right now, this would be the time to do so. We have Ed, and Ed is going to be calling in here, and Ed is going to be talking about Eyes to the Sky, calling from Louisiana. So, Ed, if you can, start the process of getting in. Meanwhile, make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. If you haven't seen these, this will actually protect your vehicles, your cars, your trucks, your boats, your ATVs, pretty much anything that you want to protect against an EMP or a CME. There is a solution for that. Especially if you are anywhere outside of Texas, I think Texas has its own grid, so whatever may happen, who knows? It might happen only in Texas. But whatever may happen, this can protect you against multiple of these events. If you want your car to be able to get home to bug in, or if you want your car to be able to leave and get out, then I would highly recommend getting an EMP Shield wired into it. The car and the truck versions, and most of these, take about 10 minutes to wire in, and you can do it yourself. They also make a home version, but you definitely want to have an electrician do that. The positive side of those, though, is that once you wire it in, it will protect everything in your house that's plugged in within 250 linear feet of where it is put in. You can protect your solar, your generators, of course, your RVs, your motorcycles, pretty much anything you can think of, they have a EMP Shield for. It's the same company that agencies like DHS, DOD, and the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid use. It's Keystone Military tested, it's an American product, and it's a great, great group that actually founded this. In fact, they are all part of the prepper community. They're all very, very awesome, including Andrew, which many of you guys know and, of course, have dealt with personally. So go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. It will ground the signal of an EMP, all three phases, or a CME, a Carrington-level event, in less than 500 trillionths of a second. That's marfooglenews.com/EMP. All you have to do is use that link, and you'll get $50 off per device, and that stacks on top of the 10% off they're doing for Memorial Day. So that's essentially tax. It's a really good time to do it. marfooglenews.com/EMP. All right, thank you guys, and that also helps our channel grow. And again, thank you so much for your support. And again, that will save your butt at some point, so think about it. They also have the micro that if you couldn't fit the bigger unit in before, the micro is about a third of the size of a normal EMP shield and is very, very small. It can fit into several different vehicles that the others couldn't. All right, Ed, you are live on marfooglenews.com.
How are you tonight, Adam?
I'm doing good. So you wanted to talk about eyes to the sky.
Yes, sir. So lately, over the last few weeks, I'm an amateur astrologer, amateur ufologist. I try and keep my eyes up for anything weird. And, just over the last few weeks, there have been a lot of reports on in a lot of different places. And I've personally seen things, but not anything quite as crazy as what other people have seen lately. But just wanted to let everybody know that, the only way that we're going to get any kind of answers is if we've got sources, and the only way to do that is for everybody to watch the skies and to just, if you do see something, record it as quick as you can. Even a terrible video can be a data point.
Well, as far as like keeping the hope, I think that everybody needs to keep hope, and people need to have faith that, this isn't the end of the world. It's the start of a new one. And I think that if everybody is informed on what is going on, that we can figure out what's going on. As far as eyes to the sky, I'm one of the people that is always looking up. So as far as what do you think is going to happen in the next year? As what's happening right now, and what is your opinion on what's going to happen?
I mean, me personally, I think that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree with me. I'm not sure what's coming. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm sure everyone can feel it. We're on the verge of something big. Something that's gonna rock and potentially change, a whole lot of things. And one of the only things that we can do as individuals is, to take care of self and like those around us, but we have to have community with those around us, because God forbid if something should happen anytime soon, especially where I'm at, and over in Texas and a lot of other places during the summer, there could very easily be lives lost without air conditioning, and just that one thing, it's potentially devastating. And the only thing that we can do is to just work together and to prepare as best we can for whatever situations can come forward,
Well, as far as there's almost every year, there's some part of the country that deals with a weather event that they're not prepared for. When we had that 118-degree day, it was absolutely insane. Nobody here has air conditioners. I know we had people end up perishing because of that. Or when Texas had that super freeze, when they're not used to the super cold. It's like these things are going to keep happening. This is why the majority of people should be prepping, whether it be for the end of the world or just an unexpected event. If anything, even if you believe independent or mainstream, or you take a mixture of both, everyone is saying the same thing. These weather events and these things are happening, and they're always going to be unexpected. So that's why I think that preppers have a good mindset of just trying to spend a little bit of their energy on prepping and making sure that they have something to back it up, to back up themselves. We have insurance for everything else. Why don't we have insurance on our lives and on our food and water and of course for events like too hot or too cold? But many people don't. That's what I don't get.
Oh no, and I agree wholeheartedly. I feel like I'm lucky in that I'm one of the people who was born in an area of the world where, we're used to adversity. Living in Louisiana, my entire life has been, hurricane after hurricane after hurricane. And, a lot of the ones that people know are the really big ones. Yeah, they were devastating, but nearly every single year there are hurricanes that come in, and even the little ones, the smaller ones, they devastate small towns in certain areas. And, just not even last hurricane season, during the fall last year, we were without power for the better part of 9 weeks because of, living in a very rural community. If a line goes down off in the middle of a national forest, it could take, weeks to get everything back up. And if you've got widespread damage over incredibly large areas, it's just incredibly difficult to reach all of the little nooks and crannies. And that's another one of the reasons why I say what I said about community is it's something that I've seen personally, and I've done a lot of traveling, and I haven't seen it as much in a lot of other places. Not saying that I haven't seen it, but here they call it Southern hospitality, but really there's just a general sense of like nurture in the community. And especially in recent years, there's been a lot of divisiveness, over a lot of different issues. But the one thing that I've seen is regardless of, color, creed, religion, any kind of societal factor, people are taking care of each other. And it's really nice to see. And honestly, I wish I'd see more of it, but that's probably the main reason as to why I wanted to call, is to just tell everyone not to give up hope, because we have to be the lights and we have to be the beacons in the world that other people see and come to. And, with pillars of solidarity in the community, we have to be good and decent and kind that we want to see in the world, because that's the only way that we can enact any kind of real change, I feel.
Well, I agree wholeheartedly, Ed. Also, I wanted to point out from what you said, there's a movie, Life on the Line, which is based on true events. It has John Travolta. I won't spoil anything about it, but it's based on true events. Anybody can, duck, go what it was about. But essentially, there was an issue where one of the grids was dependent on just a few little areas. And essentially, there was one little area that was holding out a whole city. And they were having a storm that was coming in, and hundreds of people would have died, hospitals, nobody had anything. And a few of the linemen actually, I believe one of them at least, gave their life during that event to get it up and running again. So the linemen are kind of the unspoken heroes, as far as they're constantly going out in the worst temperatures, worst storms, everything else to keep power going. I think power is something that we take for granted. We know that we take it for granted. It's something that is just all around us at all times. So thank you, any linemen that are out there right now, if there's any Foogle fam. But Ed, I think that we all need to make a positive change, be the change we want to see. And I thank you so much for calling in tonight.
All right, thank you, Adam, and thank you, Dex. And again, just I hope everybody has a good night, and I love absolutely every single one of you.
All right, well, thank you. Love you too, Ed. Have a good night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. That was Ed. Said Louisiana, but I think he said Texas. As far as, I think it was Texas that had this happen. Not sure. If somebody knows in the chat, you can pop it in. Look what happened in Texas winter 2 years ago. Yep. Yeah. That's, my brother-in-law got stuck, and a Foogle fam member ended up driving a few hours to go save him. There was no transportation. Anybody that's been here a long time knows about this, but I ended up desperately putting a community post out and stating that my brother-in-law was on a business trip at a hotel, and what ended up happening is that freeze. If you remember, the TVs showed all the houses, the pipes were bursting. Literally, they were bursting and then freezing. There was no transportation. There was no Ubers. There was no public buses. And because the pipes burst in the hotels, they legally could not keep them there. So they were forced by law to tell my brother-in-law, they said, you have a couple hours in the lobby, but you have to leave. And he had nothing to do. And he was there in business. His company couldn't do anything. Nobody could do anything. So I ended up putting a community post out. It's still up, I believe. And tons of Foogle fam members said, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. I actually was blessed enough to be able to talk to a few people and, basically select who was closest and, who would be best to pick them up. And a sales manager who did a lot of traveling ended up having a huge four-wheel drive truck, drove through it, and picked my brother up, and then even brought him back to the house. They made really close friends. Took him, they went out to dinner. He stayed there for 2 days until they got planes running again. So, I mean, there's something to be said about this community and how much everybody is just really, really positive and how much we have each other's back. And that's what I want to grow in this community. Instead of all the BS fighting and bickering about what we believe, we should just back each other up, no matter what. So that was really, really cool. But again, I did want to do, after seeing this, and not so much the movie, but after looking up, you don't really think about it, but the linemen are these incredible people that go out in the worst conditions, and they keep our electricity going, and they don't really get as much, coverage as they should. And a lot of linemen have lost their lives. So if any of you have lost your family to that, please let me know. Call in 224-400-MARF. All right, and then Jonathan Cook, nice to see you. Saul to Paul, lots of old school Foogle fam. Benjamin, a little late, but I could ask a friend. Let's see here. Ryan Alter, if the USA didn't waste so much money, power lines could go underground. Yes, I know. Only the rich neighborhoods have underground power lines. Don White, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. And Ray the Way, dear D-Rock, to say that someone took the mark isn't worth talking to when the Antichrist have been revealed, yet only unbiblical but not Christ-like misinformation like that hurts people. The pokey is not the mob, the mark of the beast. Yeah, and no, I think it would be a chip that would prevent you from, buying and selling. The poke didn't do that. At least it got close. And then Johnny D, thank you for becoming a member. Joseph Newhouse says, did you miss my comments, homie? I can't really read chat I can only read chat every once in a while. So no, I did not, to my knowledge. Thank you, Joseph. And then Johnny D, didn't mean to send 300. I want back. Johnny D, yesterday's super chat. Yes. And unfortunately we can help you on the back end, but that goes to YouTube. And that's one thing that is they hold it for 2 months. So you're not actually, when somebody does that, they're not gifting it to us. They're gifting it to YouTube. And Dex, I'm assuming you're going to say you guys took care of it, but.
No, I'm trying to talk to him. I've sent numerous messages in chat. Just email Dex at marfooglenews.com, please.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you're dealing with YouTube, and then YouTube, that's why they do that. In fact, most times that is, if it's a big thing like that, it's an accident. And that's exactly why they wait 2 months to give it to the creator, because of, accidents like that. So unfortunately, I don't know how fast it is for them to do it. And then Joseph Newhouse, just keep ignoring my comments. I am reading your comments about ignoring your comments. So Lama Thurn, thank you. I appreciate you. Ray the Way, Yobi, Baron Saturday, thank you, says never change. That's probably the nicest comment today. Thank you. Peggy D, thank you. And thank you for a few of you that just ended up getting a badge there. Thank you. All right. And then President JB shows growing appetite to cross Putin's red line. Dex, can you pop in? Because you had some really good comments on this. If not, I can jump back to this and jump forward for a minute. I don't know if you're able to jump in on Biden shows growing appetite to cross Putin's red lines.
Hey, Adam. Yes. for all that we talk about with Putin's red lines, it's almost comical, because we have said so often that are they really red lines when he lays them down, but they just keep getting rolled right over, or something happens and he doesn't live up to it. So I don't know how much it is that our current president is willing to cross those red lines, because it seems like we've done it numerous times, over and over and over again. But in this particular case, they're talking about whether or not it's to help them with the F-16s, whether or not it's to help them with javelins and stingers and HIMARS and everything else that we've been sending, and adding more and more. And I know that every couple of weeks we roll out another plan to ship over more equipment, whether we're paying for it or we're donating it, or we're paying our own industrial complex to make it and send it over to them. But it's definitely crossed many of those red lines. So I think the main point here is that, it's a lot of rhetoric coming from Putin in the past saying, hey, if the West supplies this, then that's going to be, it's going to escalate the conflict even more. Or if the West does this or the West does that, well, we keep doing it. We've done it over and over again, even from the early days, from when we helped them sink that first ship. We were sending the coordinates and potentially even sending the equipment that was used at that moment. So over and over again, this has happened, and it's almost, in some ways, it's almost comical to use the term red line, in my opinion.
Yeah, and especially with all of the red lines that have been drawn, and none of them have ever gotten anywhere close to being responded to. And then Putin is terrified of being assassinated and is refusing to travel abroad after a drone attack near his luxury home. Now, this could be true. There's been so many stories with the narrative that essentially he is weak, that he is paranoid. There is some evidence to say that he does travel at night, and sort of like North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. It says that Russian President Vladimir Putin has long sought to project an image of invincibility through his notorious macho PR stunts and aggressive assertions of Russia's role on the world stage. But according to a Wednesday report in the Daily Beast that cited the Russian independent outlet Verstka, the Russian leader increasingly feared his life. It says the report said that he was so concerned about being taken out amid the fallout of the invasion of UKR that he was refusing to travel from the country. The source from Verstka, described as a high-ranking Russian official, said that the feeling behind the scenes of the Kremlin was that Putin was wary of traveling anywhere and that he has no sense of security. According to the report, recent events had heightened the Russian president's paranoia. They included a March arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court in The Hague on allegations of war crimes and a series of mysterious drone attacks near Moscow, which almost all of those events look fishy in some way, like either Russia's doing them themselves or some smaller group is doing it to then make this narrative, and then something might even happen. I don't know. I would think he would be paranoid because that the U.S. is basically, behind all of the stuff with UKR, and same with NATO. I mean, NATO is behind it. They are fighting NATO infrastructure, almost all the gear that they're fighting, all of the vehicles, all of the helicopters, all of the tanks, everything that they're fighting, all of the anti-air, anti-surface, everything is NATO. So as far as how far will they go? As far as the drones hitting in different areas, it just looks, something's off about it. They're tiny drones. If they really wanted to take Vlad out, they could. So why do a little one that doesn't do the job but then makes the appearance of trying to? The thing is if the U.S. or even UKR, with the stuff they have, they could try to take out Vlad. How did those drones even get close? These are drones. Or is it because they were drones they could get in that close? Are drones harder to take down than, say, a missile? Well, missile, they have systems for that. But drones, I guess, could a drone fly in at 10 feet and navigate through trees and everything and basically wouldn't pick up on radar? Maybe that's why they were able to get so close. But it says the drone strikes on Tuesday hit a wealthy Russian capital suburb which the Kremlin said were intercepted by air defense systems. How did these air defense systems even take them down? I just wonder, how did they judge what to strike? Anything that's up in the air, are they taking down large birds? You know what I'm saying? Or do they have to see one, then they program it to look at that thing? I wonder about the actual technical side of taking down a smaller drone. And some of these were very small. Since the other day I said these must have been like DJI size. Some of them were DJI size, drones that are about this big. Some were the long, foldable backpack ones that, are about 3 or 4 feet. But I just wonder how the technicality of that works. Do you think he's paranoid? Give us a call at 2244-00-MARF. We don't know what's Ganda. We don't know what's a narrative. And again, most of these narratives, we don't know why they are giving it to us. It's not clear until later. Later down the road, we'll realize why these previous articles told us a narrative. That's the thing. When they project or they put the telegraph things, or they subconsciously put an idea in our head, we don't realize until later why it was done. And part of what we do here as a group, and you guys as well, is when we look at this mainstream media, which people say, why do you cover mainstream media? Because mainstream media is part of the narrative. And if you can catch the narrative halfway through and say, hey, they're trying to make us think this, then that is literally, seeing the pattern while it's being put out. It's kind of like getting the signal. If you guys saw the movie They Live, it's kind of like putting the glasses on and seeing what's really behind it. That's in fact, that's why we did that the new intro. I don't know if many of you guys get that, but it actually, the pictures kind of tell a story from you're waking up over the period of that intro. I think that many of you guys understand this. Like, we are trying to catch what they are actually doing in the mainstream narrative as they're broadcasting this alien signal that nobody sees. So I think that right now we need to be super eyes open and head on a swivel, because something is brewing. And we'll talk about that more with the power grid in just a few minutes. And then Putin no longer has the money or the kit to sustain a high-tech modern war. I don't believe this at all. I think this is complete Ganda. The reason why is he has not used most of the crazy high-tech stuff yet. Sanctions against Russia have been unsung success stories of the advanced democracies. Vladimir Putin's ability to wage military war against UKR, a geo-ideological war against the liberal world. See, looking at the devil's advocate side of this, NATO was moving in on their territory. It would be like if Russia moved into Mexico or Canada. To say that there was nothing behind this and it was just basically to win back the country, I think that's that's kind of ignorant to say that there was nothing there back and forth, but is being ground down systematically with each passing month. Earnings from Russia's oil and gas exports fell by 52% over the first 4 months of this year, and the hydrocarbon rent is what funds 2/5 of the Kremlin's budget. Last year, Putin had no difficulty financing his invasion from the windfall gains of the energy price spike, caused in large part by his own actions. He could raise pensions by 10% and scatter enough money to shield Russia's people from the hardship of war. This year, he will have to choose between guns and butter. It says it was never going to be easy to blockade the world's largest country, central to the international supply of grains, fertilizers, energy, and the gamut of critical commodities, nor was it ever going to be possible to corral the global south without provoking a backlash from and splitting the world into two camps, which literally has happened. Yet so far, the democracy have navigated this conflict with skill. I think that's a little bit off. I hesitate to talk of the West in this context because that plays the Xi Putin propaganda. The Eastern democracies of Japan, Korea, and Taiwan are also participating in the soft blockade. Europe has survived the loss of Putin's gas in a better shape than most could have imagined a year ago. Least of all Putin, prices have collapsed to 25 euros MWH or megawatt hours from a peak of 304 last August. They are not far above the median price of the last decade. January TFF contract. It says we no longer have to fear a second and even more painful energy shock this winter. Gas shortage tanks are already 75% full in Germany and 74% in Italy, and at least 20 points higher than in the seasonal norm. China's stalled recovery has created Asian demand for liquefied natural gas, and it's said that Tom Mark Manzer from Analyst ICIS, which is almost ISIS, right? Cargoes, and instead of flooding into Europe at record volume. Russia has lost all but a sliver of its European gas market and lacks the pipelines to switch to the West Siberian wells to Asia. Europe's gas demand is henceforth on a rapid downward slope. For them to say, and by the way, JP Morgan's involved. JP Morgan says last year's shock forced a permanent shift in behavior that has already cut gas needs by 5%. The breakneck rollout of this wind and solar will mechanically slice it by another 20% this decade. Yes, Russia is still seeing near record amounts of oil. This is a feature, not a bug, of the G7's $60 price cap introduced last December. The mechanism was designed to reduce export prices for Russian crude oil and petroleum products, not to reduce export volumes. And it said that the purpose of the cap is to dry up Putin's revenue system without causing a global oil shock and political uprising in Europe. It is working like a charm. So I think that I think a lot of this is, they're full of crap. Just so you know, the U.S. is still sending, $1 billion for certain things over there. And by the way, there's multiple things that we are still giving them money for and still paying them for, including half of their budget for, I want to say, their nuclear energy. And I'm trying to think of what that was, that number. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think that they are failing, or do you think that this is all a narrative? Yobi, thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. And by the way, you guys probably didn't even notice, but we had all of our stuff drop here. Did you guys have buffering at all? I'm just curious in the chat. Did you guys have buffering at all? Because it totally dropped on my end and everything shut down. And I don't think you guys even really realized that. So that was pretty cool. Curb Creeper, Uranium 1 scam. Danish Girl, no, that's awesome. I'm glad. I just had to open up everything again. That was the more you do this, it's like the better you get at kind of dealing with everything that pops up. We are live, so you never know what's going to happen. All of my windows shut down, and you guys didn't even notice. I went over to Thumb for a second, and then I, of course, went to Screensaver for a second, and then boom, was able to get everything back up. That was pretty impressed. That was good. Just saved the whole show here. Watch out for the spider hanging behind you. Charles Goki, thank you. And then Steve McQueen, thank you. I appreciate you subscribing. Actually, that was a resub. You've resubbed 4 times. I wonder, are you getting unsubscribed and that's why you're subscribing, or do I just make you mad every other day? Baron Saturday says it's been stable here. Tree Hookers, thank you. Michigan Lifestyle, Artillery, Chaos Boosted. Good job, chat. We did it. No buffering here. Reverend Brian York, almost home. All of it is a narrative because the threat is growing underground, and that's what everyone's worry. Well, that just, I don't know if this is what you meant, but it totally makes me think about how they're saying that the threat is from within. We'll talk about that here in a second. But let's go to our next caller, and our next caller is going to be Mo. We have a first-time caller, and we have some screenshots that they sent us. So we'll go to Mo here in just a second. If you haven't already, go over and check out Energy. If you're looking for a solar generator, then this is the one that we recommend. This is the Flex 1500. It's modular and it's like Lego. It can be expanded up to 96 batteries. And again, this is something that gets power from the sun. You can either charge it like a battery bank from your wall, or you can turn it into a full-on solar system with solar panels. You can mod it, and you can actually change the overall performance of it. You can turn it into an uninterrupted power supply or a UPS system. It has pretty much all the bells and whistles you could think of. plus a whole lot more. You can actually add more bells and whistles as you go. You can build it up. You can start out with, say, just a regular unit with one battery, and then build it up to a whole system that could actually do a mansion if you wanted to. There is also mods where you can mod how many solar panels you can plug in, and it's stealth. This is one of the greatest part, is all of the energy solar generators are stealth. They're quiet. That means nobody's going to hear them running 3 blocks away, and that is a very good thing. You want to be a gray man if things do hit the fan, or even if it is a bad disaster like a Hurricane Katrina type event, you don't want people around you knowing that you have power. You can also run it inside, and of course, you will have unlimited power, and you don't have to pay $5 a gallon of gas or store harmful gasolines. So go to marfugglenews.com/energy and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. This one, you do need that code to get the special savings, but you will get a huge discount, and you'll be helping us at the same time. They also have the Flex Tactical. This is the company that the Air Force Research Laboratory actually chose to work together with, and now they have helped design the Flex Tactical. This is now has a heater built in for extreme colds. It is water resistant, dust resistant, and all sorts of other great features, including the tactical latches between the batteries. So really, really cool. If you have the tactical everything, this would be the solar generator for you. Go to marfugglenews.com/energy. The Flex Tactical is on pre-order. All of the Flex or the Flex Tactical, you'll definitely want to know that there is a wait for these. But lithium is in high demand and in short supply. The price on lithium is going to go up. It is going to skyrocket. It's guaranteed. There's no way it's going to go down. So make sure to get yours yesterday rather than tomorrow, because they're going to be harder and harder to get. marfugglenews.com/energy. All right, Mo, you're live on Marfoogle News.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Mo, I was not expecting... I guess I was expecting a male. What is happening, Mo?
A male, I know, no. Well, I've been checking. You know how they always say look to the sky and different stuff like that. And so for the past couple of years, I've been looking to the sky. Then they also said you should look at the movies. So I came across, the Hopi Prophecy, and they was talking about how they dance and remove the mask and all that. Then I came across My Pet Goat, and they was doing the same thing. So I happened to go to the movie The Mask and the mask ending, and I want you to look at something that I caught. Maybe y'all can help me with it, or maybe I'm not seeing it correctly.
I'm pulling it up right now. So we have a screenshot, and I'm going to be putting it on screen here in just a second. So can you explain what we are looking at here?
Okay, so there's a part where he throws, I forgot his name, but he stole the mask in the water. Once he throws the mask in the water, his friend goes to retrieve it. As he retrieves it, if you pause it, you'll see the sun. It seems like it's an extra sun on there, but I don't know for sure. But that's I want somebody else's opinion to look at it. The other people think I'm crazy. I'm looking at trying to find something, but it looked like there's a second sun on there.
Well, I mean, it could be a refraction of the camera, or they could have there's a special kind of lens that they use for cinematic stuff, and I'm forgetting what it's called, but it could be that. But yeah, it most definitely looks like there's a yellow ball right next to the sun. I've never noticed that.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, it's a couple of movies like that that's got some weird stuff in it, but yeah. So I just wanted the people to start looking at these movies at the end of the movies and see if y'all can catch something, because it's another one I seen was I, Robot at the ending of that, but it wasn't the sun, it was the placard that was on the ground. It kind of threw me off, but they always say look at the movies, they'll tell you stuff, and so between the sky and the movies, there's something out there people really need to start looking up, or either going to live screens. You know how you can go to like Florida and look at their lives and watch how their sun come up and go down. It's quite sure you will see some amazing stuff if you can get there before they spray the sky real good. But yeah.
Well, either way, the Mask was one of my favorite videos when I was a kid. What do you think of Jim Carrey now? Jim Carrey, a couple years ago, he did like this kind of, I think he kind of broke down after he played Andy Kaufman, and then he did a bunch of stuff. He did the hand motions on one of the nighttime shows where he did the Illuminati stuff, and he basically said that everybody's a plant. Do you think he was serious when he said that, or do you think he's part of it?
I think he's part of it due to the fact is that they're in that elite class. Once you get past a certain demographic of money, you're no longer regular folks, you're those folks. You see what I'm saying? Once you get a demographic of people like that, you just, whatever they say, kind of believe them. Think about it, but kind of believe them because they're telling you the truth in so many words, what they can say.
Okay, well, under that theory, though, what if you won the Powerball? What if you won the Mega Millions or something, and all of a sudden we're rich? Would then you be part of the elite class and nobody could trust you?
Well, what do you think happened to a lot of people that become millionaires?
I guess. I
mean, think about it. I mean, you got to think. A lot of people I try to tell people, I mean, it's good to have money, but it's a certain amount that you get, you kind of lose control.
Well, I thought...
when you lose control, you sell your soul.
Well, when you... when I found out through a short, and then I looked it up. So Andrew Tate bought a Bugatti, right? And I didn't know that if when you go to buy a Bugatti, they're like over $1 million each, and essentially you can't just go buy a Bugatti unless you buy it from somebody and it's used or something. You have to buy it, and it's a process where they actually choose you and they say you can buy a Bugatti. You go to a dinner with other Bugatti owners. You are supposed to basically represent Bugatti, and you go to this private dinner with all of the richest people in the world at some private residence or wherever they host it. And it's like there are a lot of things like that where it's private clubs, or if you're a jet owner or something, they have private jet owners. But one thing I thought about with the mega billions or that last Mega Millions or whatever the $2 billion one.
Yep.
They had an air on it. Everybody bought lotto tickets when they were supposed to draw it. At first, somebody announced that somebody won it in like Texas or something, and then all of a sudden it goes, "Oh no, it's a California winner." And they had for the first time they had an issue drawing the numbers. I think they just didn't. Maybe they picked the people that win that. They're like, "Oh no, he's a right-sided conservative. Let's pick somebody else."
Yeah, I believe that stuff. Look, I kind of believe that because it's kind of funny. It's always winning in, California and New York. It's like they always, for some reason, well, not California. What is next to California? Because California can't play either the Powerball or Mega Millions. They have to cross over to another state. But for some reason, right there between California, they're always hitting, and somewhere over in New York, that area, they're always hitting a lot. For all the places that do play Powerball and Mega Millions. Yeah, that makes me wonder, do they actually have it set up to stop? And, but you got to think, man is behind anything. Anything man is behind, they can rig it up.
Well, if you think about it, if there is any kind of weirdness there, the second somebody wins the Powerball at $2 billion, they're a billionaire. They're at least going to get $1 billion. And that much money gives you a lot of power. There's no way you can have $1 billion and not have power. You even hit a list.
That's true.
What's her face?
Yeah.
Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. She kept donating hundreds of thousands, if not millions, because she didn't want to become a billionaire and be listed as a billionaire. So she kept donating to stay at $9.99.99. So I wonder what happens when you become a billionaire. You might be right. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, it was a lovely.
Hello?
It was a lovely call, and I thank you so much for calling, Mo. And it's your first time call. I hope it's not your last.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you.
You have a blessed night, Mo. Bye-bye. That was Mo, and this is a scene from The Mask in 1994. Blue Boy says, "Wake up, Adam. They're getting close." That is, that's the quote from the intro for the next set of badges. That is, great topics tonight. Great show, like always. Shoutro to Dex, Fugel Fam, and Mods. Thank you, Blue Boy. Appreciate that. For love of country, thank you. And love the Fugel Fam and Mods. Best on YouTube. Joseph Newhouse, thank you for your just ignore my comments. Don White, Ray the Way, thank you. Johnny D, Lama Thurn, Yobi, And Peggy D, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see here. Lola, and then everybody over on D-Live, thank you guys. Thanks for popping in. Davros von Scaro, I appreciate you popping in. Canada, Japan, UK joined the W and the E and the F Agile program. Thoughts? Davos von Scaro. I think they're all part of the WEF. I don't think there's a NATO country that's not. There's something big going on behind the scenes. And then, Dex, are you able to pop in for a second? I know we have, let's see here. Do we have, okay. All right, it looks like you're screening another call, so I'll pull you in on the next one. Let's see here. The Kremlin wants everyone to chill out after firebrand nationalists and military honchos called for martial law in response to the drone attacks on Moscow. It says that Russia is dismissing calls to impose martial law after a series of drone attacks reportedly struck Moscow this week. The Kremlin hasn't discussed imposing such measures after the attack. Dmitry Peskov, a spokesperson for the Russian leader Vladimir Putin's office, told the state news agency RIA Novosti. It says this is entirely a prerogative of the highest federal power. No decisions have been made on that account, and no discussions are being held on this matter. So just want to point out that during the... Do you guys remember that Telegram post that we showed? And I'm trying to remember. Let's see. I wonder if we can pull this up. Hold on real quick. I'm going to pop over. There was a post done, and I believe it was January 9th, that kind of told the future of what was going to happen in Russia. And one of them was martial law. One of them was that they were practicing for a plan. Essentially found out later it was a plan called Noah's Ark, an evacuation of the highest level of officials in the Kremlin. And they said that there would be a massive recruitment, or a massive, what do you call it, when you gather troops of 300,000. All of these things ended up coming true on this Telegram. Let me go to our actual website, because I think I'll be able to search. Let's see here. Telegram. Let's see. Trying to think of a keyword here. Let's see. Because this is what's cool about our website. It's all archived. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of what was in there. Oh. This might be it. January 19th? Ah, yes, the general SVR. So look at that. By the way, I just want to point out, I was looking for the telegram, the general SVR telegram from January 9th. I just typed in martial law, and it gave me the most relevant thing, because that's what I was thinking of. Be ready for anything Pearl 2.0. Update from general SVR. So when I go to this show, this is what's great about this all being archived. I can go down. Here is the general SVR from January 9th. I just want to point out, this is now fast forward. We're now in the 6th month. 5 months ago, it says Putin has called for full mobilization and announced that mobilization efforts will begin on January 18th, with the first 2 weeks being covert, which they were. It says he supports the proposal to call on people who have already left the country and are banned from returning as part of the mobilization process. That also happened. The ban on travel abroad will be introduced along with the declaration of martial law. Now, this is the part that hasn't happened, which is expected to occur around the anniversary of the outbreak of hostilities. Putin has ordered the leadership of the security sector to prevent any political rallies, mass events, including those in support of the current government, until further notice. Now, I want to point out, the May 9th, all of that stuff ended up getting canceled. A lot of the Victory Day stuff got canceled. So there might be some truth to that. Don't know. And it says he has instructed them to prepare and conduct exercises to evaluate the country's leadership in the event of a nuclear war, with larger exercises planned for this year. We just found out about the whole Noah's Ark plan. Noah's Ark was a plan where the leaders would, and they called it Noah's Ark out of everything, which is freaky, right after they told us about the Poseidon tsunami nuclear bomb. It says he has mentioned that preparations should be made for, quote, big events that will occur this year, but did not specify what he meant, and participated noticed that he appeared pale, frequently coughed, and seemed tired. So this was part Ganda, part truth. What did we actually do? As far as the full mobilization, that ended up happening. Half of this actually happened, with half of it still possible. So isn't that kind of trippy that was January, and that was from that General SVR. The General SVR, though, stands for, essentially, they're the equivalent of CIA of Russia, right? And let's see here. So, yeah, kind of freaky stuff. So, possible. Is martial law going to happen there? We don't know. And then several countries promised more patriots to UKR, Polish Prime Minister said. I wonder, why do they need more? Maybe because some of them got destroyed and they're $1 billion apiece. According to the report, they also discussed training UKR pilots on F-16 fighter jets with UKR President Vladimir Zelensky. It says, we have scheduled these training sessions. Poland will help UKR train pilots on F-16 fighter jets. So, again, we called the fighter jets are happening. It's just a matter of time. During the discussion of the supply of Patriot systems to UKR, he emphasized, how important is it for the other countries that have these systems to share them with UKR as soon as possible? I can say that this meeting was very constructive and positive. I don't want to speak on behalf of several prime ministers, but several prime ministers who have Patriot systems have promised quick delivery of these systems because the other ones got destroyed by Russia and they're not actually fixing them and they're probably gone. Don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. 224400MARF. That's again 224400MARF. And then Russia has 10 times more tactical weapons. Let's see here. More tactical nuclear weapons than the U.S. Now they arm Belarus. Belarusian forces are already armed with Islander M missiles capable of carrying both conventional and nuclear warheads, according to reports. And it says that Russia's large arsenal of tactical nuclear weapons has been a source of concern for decades. Yet Putin's potential use of these catastrophic weapons has taken on new dimensions of seriousness due to Russia's planned deployment of tactical nuclear weapons to Belarus. It says Russia has 10 times the tactical nuclear weapons as the United States and has visibly and repeatedly threatened to use them against UKR, NATO, and the West throughout its now long-standing conflict in UKR. Has this purely been a manipulative tactic to lessen the minimize Western support for UKR and hold the world hostage for nuclear threats? Perhaps, yet one could make the argument for such an escalate to when Russian strategy has been working. At the same time, the Pentagon's decision to send Abrams tanks and its more recent decision to support the deployment of Eastern European F-16s has not, at least of yet, resulted in Putin's actual, quote, use of nuclear weapons in any capacity. Remember, there was a ton of red lines drawn, and they said that they would use these things if they did any of the above, but yet they haven't. And that's why people like myself and my peers, on and off camera, we've been talking about this with each other. All of these red lines got stepped right over. And people assume, oh, cool, we got through that one. But yet they're telling us in the next 2 years it's probable that we'll have a catastrophic cyber event. Something is coming, folks. All of these red lines aren't crossed. This is all a strategic 4D chess game, and essentially our freedoms are on the line. It goes pretty deep, but it's getting pretty crazy. All right, and then for Love of Country, says, love the Fugle Famine mods, best on YouTube. Thank you, and thank you for Love of Country 1. Thank you for massive support this year. I appreciate you. For Love of Country 1. Thank you, guys. Best screen name in the house. Let's see here. And then thank you, and thank you, Blue Boy. I appreciate that as well. All right, let's see here. And then thank you, Davros and Priscilla R. Thank you. Beer Juice, thank you for gifting out badges over on DLive. Thank you, and thank you. All right, let's go to our next caller. We have, let's see. We're going to be going over to Andrew, a first-time caller, calling from Colorado. I won't spoil the call here. So let's get Andrew in. And if you need a reminder, if you need, of course, a fast way to beef up your food supply, go over to marfooglenews.com/prep. You can get 3 months of freeze-dried food that is going to last 25 years for $200 off right now. If you break that down, you actually have 3 months for one person, or a month and a half for 2 people, or a month of food for 3 people. So if you do want to end up getting 6 months to a year like what is recommended, this is the most affordable way to do it. In fact, you could get 9 months worth of food for the same price as most competitors are doing 3 months. So it's a really, really affordable way to get a whole lot of freeze-dried food that is sealed in Mylar bags, then sealed in buckets, and then again, able to last 25 plus years. That'll be 2052 by the time it starts hitting its expiration. So really, really great thing to have. Just add water and cook, and you've got the food just like it as it was packed. Go to marfooglenews.com/prep. And let's see here. If you, again, that $200 is actually most likely going to be ending soon. They were doing a free Alexa Pure Pro. The $200, we don't know how long that's going to last, but then it may actually go up again. So make sure to hop on that while you can. All right, go to marfooglenews.com/prep. Andrew, you are live on Marfoogle News.
What's up, Mark? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. So I didn't want to. What do you think we should all be doing?
Well, I can't really say what every person should do, but what I've been learning, because see, I'm 36 years old, and God, gave me the eyesight and the eyes to see and the ears to hear when I was about 18, 19 years old. And this was in the golden age of YouTube. And this is where, you could go on there and find whatever, whenever. And I just remember my mind being open to so many different things that I was like, wow, man, like this is legitimate stuff. And I mean, I've watched this unfold for the last, over 10 years. And as it gets closer to this, like, this nexus point, like, I just keep on being reassured, over and over and over that, yes, this is happening. I mean, it absolutely is. But one thing I do want to say is that what I've been learning recently, and I'd say this is through, through the Heavenly Father, is the more independent that each one of us can become. I'm talking about each one of us as an individual, aside from, your family, your friends, your group, your circle, whatever. The more independent that you can become from this hamster wheel that they put us on every day, there's literally nothing they can do. And I've been really, really seeing it very clearly recently that it's like, if you can take care of your health, you can take care of your, finance. And I know it's harder these days to do than, it's easier to say than it is to do. But I mean, none of this is going to be easy. It's going to be hard. And we're going to have to push ourselves. We're going to have to push each other. And I think the more that we can do that, and that we can actually step into this role that we're going to have to kind of take on, that we're going to be able to succeed, man. And it really fills me with hope that just like how this country was founded, man, it's like it was founded by Americans who, had a love for freedom, for everything decent, and everything that, stands for all those things. And I truly believe, man, that if we can kind of step back from, the world's not going to go back to the way it was. It's just not. And I can accept that, because God is trying to show all of us, in my opinion, that there is another way. And that is self-reliance. And that doesn't mean you can't depend on other people. You should always be able to depend on your circle and the people that you trust. But the more that we can take care of like I said, our health, our mental health, just everything that involves you as an individual, because you are a free sovereign being created by the Heavenly Father, who literally created you to be a free sovereign being. And when you realize that and you take that role on, again, it's it's not something that you can do without being totally active and proactive about it. Like, you have to be proactive about the entire thing. You can't be lazy. You can't, there's going to be days that you don't want to get out of bed and that you don't want to, go work on whatever it is, starting a garden, going up in the mountains. One thing that I've been doing over the last 2 years a lot is going camping. Like, I camp as much as I can. And it's because when I'm camping, especially in the Rocky Mountains, I mean, dude, not only are you connected with nature, but you are learning, especially if you put yourself through these, these skills and like these trials. I mean, like, me and a buddy of mine, we've been up there, like, literally trying to build our own little, dugout, like our own little, house out of just materials from up there. And dude, what I've learned in these 2 years of just going up camping alone is I feel so much more comfortable thinking about the lights potentially going out, the electricity potentially going out. And, the more that I do it, the more sure of myself that I feel that when this happens, that I will be able to, prosper, and I'll be able to not just, prosper, but help other people. And I truly believe that if we can, again, like I said, take that role on and not be scared of it. And I mean, it's going to be scary. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. There's going to be days where you feel like absolute crap, but you just got to remind yourself that there is a monster at the door, and you can either, stand firm and take that monster on, or you can, bury your head in the sand and let it completely devour you. But I'll tell you what, man, everyone in this Foogle family, I'm speaking to each one of you in this family because I love you. You're all beautiful individuals who have come together in this collective and have taught me so much, man. I mean, I already, thought I knew quite a bit about this, but just through the Foogle family alone, I have learned more about, this subject and my life and myself and just the way the world is. And it's a beautiful thing, man. Like, it's so beautiful that there's this place that we can come together. I mean, I'm a first time caller, dude. I've been wanting to call for a while, but I was almost kind of scared to. And tonight I kind of prayed on it for a minute, and God was like, go ahead, man, call. And so I did. And dude, it rang one time, and Dex answers the phone and is just like, hey, what's up? I'm just like, oh my God, dude. Like, this is real. These people are really here doing the real thing, man. And I commend you guys 100% for everything that you guys do, man, because without it, I think people would be pretty hopeless right now. And if just in this family alone, we can come together as a collective, but then also work on ourselves as independent, free beings, there's nothing they can do to stop us, man. Nothing. Literally nothing. And, I didn't really know what I was going to come on here and say, but I mean, that's kind of my message, is that, we should take care of ourselves and each other, and just, no matter what, do not comply with things that go against your freedoms, that go against your liberties, and that you just know in your gut and in your heart are not acceptable. And you don't have to be mean about it. You don't have to fight with anyone about it. You just got to lay down just go to that root cause of the problem and just lay down the law. And because we all have rights, man, we have the right to live and be free and happy. And with that said, I'd just like to say a prayer real quick, and that's about it, if that's okay with you, Marv.
Go ahead.
All right. Heavenly Father, please give all of us in this Foogle family on this beautiful planet the strength, the courage, the speed, the strength, the speed, everything that we could ever think of and or need to get through these trials. Please bless the Fugel family. Please bless America. Please bless even China and Russia and the whole world, everyone in it. Everyone is beautiful, and everyone is a reflection of you, Heavenly Father. And I truly thank you for giving us Dex and Marf and the mods and the Fugel family and the knowledge that is being shared. Because without it, I don't know how I'd quite feel right now. I think I might be, pretty terrified. But because of you, you've given us the strength to do things that I would have thought were impossible, like, at a certain point in my life. So with that said, thank you for everything you've ever given me, my family, my friends, Marv, Dex, again, the mods, the Fugel family, and please give us the eyes to see and the ears to hear everything that we need to know to get through these trials in this time. And with that said, amen. And thank you so much for letting me call in, man.
Well, amen, Andrew. And I'm surprised that was a freestyle call. Like that was, and you were worried about calling in. It's your first time call. It shouldn't be your last. And again, thank you so much for calling in today, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you, Marf, and bless you guys, man, and thank you so much for what you do, man. Just wake up every day and remember that you are a player, dude. You are doing the things, man, and bless you guys, and I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you, Andrew, and have a wonderful night. God bless.
Yeah. You too, man. All right, bye-bye.
That was Andrew from Colorado. He's a well-spoken guy too. Every time I've called into like a radio show or anything, I'm just a blubbering mess. Let's see. Because you think of something to say, and then when you call in and you actually get on, and then you end up, heck, I'm doing it right now. Well, thank you. Those are really kind words, and we appreciate it. Which actually brings me to some house cleaning here before we talk about this. Before we talk about Elon, I got a comment yesterday. I got an email yesterday, and I did make a mistake, but I guess the way of saying it was kind of rude. I'm not going to put the person on blast, but I will read what they said. Let's see here. So I have the comment pulled up here, and I will do it in. I'll make sure it's the Karen.
Hi guys, thanks for your hard work.
So a compliment.
I have a question for you regarding your June 1st, 2023 program presenting the archaeological discovery, quote, in China. I read the short article during a presentation. The last paragraph about the U.S. cover-up was news to me, but not shocking. Question, why did you choose not to include that? Was it that you did not read the article in full or chose to cherry-pick information like legacy media? If you were uncomfortable revealing this on air, why did you not strongly urge viewers to read the last paragraph of the article for a significant data point? Have you not mentioned Operation Paperclip before?
Which Paperclip, we have, if you actually type that into our website, we have talked about that a ton. And we have covered all sorts of cover-ups, so that's not something that we're against.
And this has given me reason to pause and reevaluate your integrity. I am disappointed and hope you will, upon self-reflection, ask yourself these questions. Thank you. And anonymous, eh?
So first of all, that article that she's talking about is the Japan. I believe it's the bunker thing. And no, I did not get to it because we got distracted and we got distracted on conversation. But this is a live show. You have to understand we're literally having a time reference. Where you read that and where you got that information was from us. We gave you that and you found it and you admitted you read this on our website. We provide that information to you and we spend a lot of time doing it. So for us to provide that information to you, I wouldn't see how we're, trying to hide it in some way. Basically said, thanks for your hard work, and then accused us of being a shill in the rest of the paragraph. I don't appreciate it. I guess if you read it from us and you literally wouldn't have known about it anywhere else, then why would you think that there's some reason we're trying to hide it? I have to deal with all sorts of things on my end, and if I can't get through, by the way, that was, I think, 4 pages down. We really can't read all 4 pages of it. As far as the U.S. cover-up, no, I did not get to that point, but I thought we mentioned it, and I did look back, and we didn't. So now I'm correcting myself. That Japan thing apparently was covered up, but there's nobody in my ear going,
Adam, you can't talk about 1945.
It just wasn't that way. So thank you for letting me know. But again, I don't see the point of saying thank you and then saying you're basically a shill of some sort. Paperclip, if you go on our website, in fact, I think if we pull this up, you can actually type in paperclip or any of the things that you want to learn about. And National Guard to drive school buses, you can find in this show. We did a whole thing about it. So it's definitely secretive program. And you actually, this is a great show, by the way. This talks about the secretive Pentagon program that started on T-Man's last day. Oh man, that was a good one. Remember when they transferred over all of the DoD websites and things? That's a really good one to go. People need to utilize this website more. Again, if you do want to send me feedback, that's great. Again, if we make a mistake, I say I will correct it. And wasn't trying to put you on blast. I just thought the way you put it was kind of like, if you've watched this for a really long time, then I guess why would you even think that? But yeah, let's see here. Elon told officials in Beijing that he is opposed to the U.S. and China breaking down economic ties. Elon Musk told officials in Beijing that he opposed to the U.S. and China weakening economic ties, according to the Chinese Foreign Ministry. The Tesla CEO reportedly expressed his disapproval of the China and U.S. decoupling economically while meeting China's foreign commerce and industry ministers. It says, quote, "The interests of the United States and China are intertwined like conjoined twins," Musk was quoted saying in a ministry statement on Wednesday. It says China's foreign minister Qin Gang, meanwhile, told Musk that both countries needed to keep the steering wheel in the right direction in their relationship, emphasizing mutual respect and win-win cooperation. It says, quote, "China always welcomes business figures from all countries, including Mr. Musk, to visit China for a deeper understanding of the country and mutually beneficial cooperation." A foreign ministry spokesperson said at a press conference on Tuesday, "We welcome foreign companies to invest and do business in China, explore the Chinese market, and share in development opportunities." Musk's private jet landed in Beijing on Tuesday, marking the billionaire's first visit to China in nearly 3 years. That comes as U.S.-China tensions reach a potential breaking point, with China officials expressing fury in recent months over U.S. politicians' show of support for Taiwan and Congress's heated questioning of TikTok's CEO over security concerns. Remember, the TikTok money is going directly to the top of China. That's why I have said if you do get involved over there, don't get financially involved. Fraying economic ties between the two countries could be a major worry for firms like Tesla. It says, which has key production and manufacturing plants in China that help keep production costs low. But Musk's visit so far has largely been welcomed with open arms, both by Chinese officials and industry figures. Later on Tuesday, Musk shared a 16-course feast with one of China's top battery executives. Remember, a lot of these things, including the Tesla batteries and their second biggest customer is China. So you would think that he would be beholden to them in some way. In my belief, there's a lot of folks that look up Musk as a hero, and I would hope he definitely speaks a big game. He speaks a lot of things that we are all passionate about here, as far as freedom of speech and being free speech absolutists, and he makes a lot of good points. In my opinion, so did DeSantis during his time, and so did T-Man. But we know all of these people, when it really comes down to it, they are up there. They're making billions of dollars. They've done shady deals, almost all of them, absolutely all of them. You can't say one of these people hasn't done incredibly super shady things. So as far as like, where it's headed, it's like we're all hoping for the least of many evils to run this planet. Meanwhile, China is literally making a world domination ploy, and a lot of people don't know about it. You guys do. You see what is happening right now. They will eventually take Taiwan, and they're going to try to take other places. In my belief, they're going to try to take Japan. They're going to try to take all of that part, because if they do, it will be very quick that they could actually secede and go over the U.S. in importance and in domination. They already have the largest Navy. They're creating the largest Air Force. They are now trying to catch up, and somehow they are in nuclear weapons. They're way behind now, but they're exponentially growing in this area. When they start getting up to that level, we're in trouble. And we're already in trouble right now. As far as Taiwan and everything else, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below or in the chat. Let's see here. Dex, I wanted to go over the power grid stuff, and I wanted to have a conversation with you. Let's see here. I'm
here, and just real quick on the Musk thing, man. Talk about self-serving interest for sure. I mean, that's all about what's in his best interest.
Yeah, he's creating a new battery factory in Shanghai, and Musk is expected to visit Tesla. So first of all, we can all see the thing is they only care about the bottom dollar when it comes down to it. Everybody can see that we're literally coming up on this thing, and that China is trying to do absolute harm to the U.S. How can you actually do that? So I want to go back to this, and there is a video. Let's load this up before we switch over here, because this is really important. Let's see. Where would the tweet be? Where can I access that? Dex.
It's where everything else is in the system, or I can move it somewhere else for you if you want.
Up next or screener?
Neither of those two. Hang on.
Oh, okay. I got you. Pocket. Okay. All right. So I think this is it. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to put this on the small screen here. So a lot of people are talking about this right here, and this is a big deal. So if you look, let's see here. Let's go to small screen here.
Troubling escalation in tactics from right-wing extremists.
Now, listen to this. This is the power grid threat, the video. Everybody is now talking about this. You guys realize it doesn't matter. They insert X here, whoever the bad guy is. It's like Luke, which I respect Luke a lot, says they are laying down the groundwork for the next Fantastic Freddy, right? How long have we been saying this? And it's not just Luke. It's all sorts of folks now are saying, whoa, watch out, because there's a lot of chatter. Even Jacob Israel did a video about it a couple days ago. This is something we've talked about for years, and specifically this. And ever since, before they did the alerts, right? This is what is everybody. But the thing is the more clear it comes, the more people all of a sudden get on this boat of realizing what's happening. And then all of a sudden it does happen. It's all there for everybody to see here. Let me, I have a good idea of how to do this. Here.
Captain Harris has more on this as he joins us from Washington. Captain, we understand the power grid could be a target.
Good morning. According to the intelligence report obtained by CBS News, these groups have developed credible and specific plans to attack the power grid since at least 2020 as a way to disrupt the country and the ability of government to operate. The report warns extremists adhering to a range of ideologies will likely continue to plot and encourage physical attacks. So as you can see,
this is something, the DHS bulletin, this goes back to 2018. It is being set up heavily for something like this to go down. The point is, people should not be terrified or freaked out or panicking. People should be prepared. You should not be caught off guard. Now, this is now finally hitting a lot of people, but for those of you that have known this was something that's been talked about by Mr. Gates, literally look at Mr. Gates' quote there. He says, oh, well, there'll be a civil conflict, there'll be a and there will be there will be a situation where everything goes down. He's talked about blackout. He's talked about all this. There are many people up there that have said this is one of the most likely thing. And we have the Davos saying 93% of a catastrophic cyber event. We have had Solar Winds access all of our military branches, including HR departments of many states, and of course all of the DoD, DOE was accessed, and our Black Start program was accessed. The whole plan that we would enact if our grid went down. So take this thumbnail. Now the X's don't matter, but the actual the grid. There's 3 different grids across the country. If they knock out 9 different locations, they can knock out the whole thing. Does that include cyber? I don't know. But what I do know is a cyber thing could knock out huge chunks of our infrastructure, and we would be in a lot of trouble. Even if it's temporarily, even in the first week, even if it doesn't last a year, like they say, if it's cyber and somehow they're able to knock it down for a week, Black Start program, they actually know each step we would take to turn it back on, even if it's a cyber event. So even if it's a cyber or not a cyber, this is something that people need to have a basic understanding of and share with friends and family as far as what could happen here with this. So this is now the chatter, and they're saying online chatter. It's been online chatter for a long time. It's been chatter in general from military members in this group for a long time. Finally now, and people, because mainstream is covering it, there's going to be people that are going to say, oh, well, mainstream said it, so it's not true. I bet you there's a part of truth there, and then that fill-in blank of who's doing it, that's probably the not true part. But just saying. So this is a very, very freaky thing. But remember, you can prepare for anything, and if the worst thing that comes to your house or to your home is that the lights go out, there's ways you can prepare for that. That's why we give you the tools, we give you the options, we give you the friends and Foogle family members you can go to, learn about this stuff, and educate yourself. If you're sitting on the toilet, they say that we sit on the toilet however many hours in our lifetime. Now that you have a cell phone that's a full-on computer, you could be spending those 10, 15 minutes or 3 minutes if you're healthy. You could spend that learning something. So don't say you didn't have time, because otherwise, if you're reading a magazine, then you probably should be switching that out for articles or some sort of informational thing. Modoc Roughstock says, buy a pre-rolled, buy 2, send Dex 1. I don't know if you're talking about the Mary J, but I don't do the Mary J anymore. Not since I was in my 20s, but just the thought that counts. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure that's what he meant by pre-rolled. I'm sure we're not talking about sleeping bags. Well, thank you guys. And Dex, let's go over the web only. We're running out of time here, so let's make it brief and talk about what's going on here.
Yeah, there's lots happening. So head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, or open up that show notes link down below in the description. It'll take you to this web page with all the content that we just covered. It'll also take you, you'll get the caller information down below, but right in the middle is the overflow section. That's where the rest of the story is. So we've got all sorts of updates here across the board, from everything in the political spectrum. Biden has fallen again. That was a pretty big one today. We've also got some updates on his son and what's been released. It's coming out from his laptop. Apparently the bill is been approved by Congress. It's now going to Senate. They're going to vote on it to get the debt deal done. Then we do have all the other information, lots of other crazy stories in here. Just don't have time to cover it. We're about to run out of time on the show, but definitely go take a look. Everything from UKR updates on both sides, stuff that's happening with NK and Kim Jong and how they're thinking he is. They're trying to speculate his weight and size for some strange reason. Maybe they're trying to embarrass him, but all of that and so much more, it's right there on the website. We put it together for you every night. There's a lot there tonight, so go take a look.
Yeah, it even goes back to 2001's events. Oh man, it's getting heated up. So make sure to go check it out. Thank you everybody for coming tonight. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Thank you over on DLive. It looks like Priscilla R. Looks like Beer Juice actually gifted a bunch of badges over there. Thank you so much, Beer Juice, and helped out Karen for Columbus. Hal 9000 Watson. Thank you, Karen, from Columbus. Thank you for being there. Yobi, MC Dirty Work, Kimbria, Yobi, Sergeant Maga, Jammer One. Thank you for always being an awesome guy and mod over there. Make sure to drop an M in the chat right now for all of your wonderful mods. Let's see here. Thank you for love of country. It looks like you're the top supporter tonight. You will probably have to go over to Jams to hear the silly song. Have a good night. Be safe. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro.
Going right down now it's high. I'm about to flip now. We fly. Going right